I'm Matt Dixon. This is the CCD podcast, and today I'm talking to international footballer turned chemical industry CEO, Mathieu Flamini. Welcome.
Well, hi, Matt. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
How are you doing today?
All good. All good.
Excellent.
It's getting hotter and hotter, but
yes.
I mean, we won't complain. We won't complain.
Yeah. Well, that might link to something we're going to talk about later, I suppose. But yes, so why don't we start off? Why don't you talk a little bit about what some people might view as quite a change in career path, perhaps going from footballer to the chemical industry?
Yes, this is true. I mean, this is a good question. I'm still struggling to answer how come I moved from football to the chemical world. But I think it's probably the answer is probably around passion. I grew up by the sea, in the south of France, in Marseille, and from very early age I had two passions. The first one was football, and I've been very blessed and very pleased because I've been able to live that passion for the past 20 years. And the second one is sustainability. I grew up by the sea. My dad is a sea lover, and I grew up with this generation of Commandant Cousteau. Who basically brought closer, the ocean and the life in the ocean. So from a very early age, playing football on the beach, I was very much aware of the concern related to humankind on the impact we were having on the planet, and I always wanted to do something around that topic. And this is true when I moved from the club from Arsenal, where I played there for 8 years. When I moved from Arsenal to AC Milan in Italy, I had the opportunity to basically engage with a number of scientists, a number of engineers, and to start that journey with GFBiochemicals, because we co-founded the company over 12 years ago. So it has been a long journey. I mean, we all know the chemical industry is an industry which takes time in order to bring a new product, new ingredient to the market. But after a lot of work, I mean, we are very pleased to be in a commercialization phase.
Sure. And maybe for those that don't understand it completely, you want to give a little summary of what biochemicals are, perhaps, and then how GFB fits into that world?
Of course, I will be very happy. I think the chemical world in general is very much unknown by the general public, but it's an industry which is affecting us on daily basis. I mean, it's everywhere around us. I mean, the chemical industry is doing our consumer product, is doing our phones, is doing everything which is around us in house. So what's important to mention is this industry is also going through a massive transition because we all know there are some major issues which we need to tackle, and one of the most important one is climate change. So I was saying, by 2030, 1/3 of the oil demand will be coming from the petrochemical industry, and by 2050, 50% of the oil demand will be coming from the petrochemical industry. So there is a massive transition which is coming from two factors. The first one is the regulator. Regulator is very much pushing out, those type of products which have been produced for the past 50 years, which come from the oil industry and which are also toxic for people. And the other pressure is coming from the consumer, people like you, people like me, who want safer and more sustainable product. So those pressure on the market today is pushing large chemical group, large FMCG group to basically accelerate this transition and replace ingredient coming from oil by ingredient coming from the plant-based industry. And what we have done for the past 10 years is very much developed ingredients, develop technology to produce plant-based ingredients, which we are today commercializing in industries such as personal care, home care, paints and coatings, and agro. And what we do basically is substitute the harmful ingredients which you find in your shampoo, in your shower gel, in the detergent for your house, by much safer product. And what we do is we also cut the CO2 emission because our products are coming from plant-based, and we deliver safer ingredients. So this is what we do in a few words. We have close to 200 patents, 40 different families. And for the ones thinking what has I been doing for the past 12 years, I mean, what's important to say is in a chemical industry, you need first to demonstrate the technology in a lab. Then you need to demonstrate the technology at industrial scale. Then you need to basically certify your product. Then your product need to be qualified by the large chemical groups, the large FMCG group. And then you need also to go through a long time, I will say, certification, which is basically giving you the authorization to start commercialization of the product. So those are a long process which we had to tackle during those 10 years. But finally, very pleased to be today on the market selling.
Sure. And switching the whole economy from digging oil out the ground to using biomass, effectively byproducts from things that are already produced, it's not going to happen overnight. So yeah, and so you mentioned a little bit about your journey from was it 2010? I think you originally invested. You've been through a few developments, and then the most recent one.
Co-founded.
Co-founded.
I am the F of the GFB.
Okay, I see. Yes, and then your most recent corporate development news was earlier this year, the fundraise.
Yes, this is great. So this is correct. Sorry, we basically we were privately investing. We're privately funding the company, and after 10 years, we needed two important aspects. Was one, validating the work which has been done for the past 10 years. 10, 12 years, because I think it was very important as a next step for the company. And also we wanted to bring some very expert and knowledgeable investors in a company. And this is why we have announced the completion of the Series A investment in a company, which was announced a couple of weeks ago, with Sofinnova, which is one of the most advanced investor in terms of biotechnology, and another one which is called Sparta Capital, which is based in UK.
So it sounds like the work's just starting. What's the plan for the next couple of years?
Correct. Let's say we're entering a new phase. We're entering a new phase because obviously a lot of work has been done, for the past 12 years, to get where we are today. But I think there is an exciting time ahead of us, because obviously, as I was saying, now we're entering the commercialization phase. We also with this round, what we're going to do is very much add some talents in a company. We will also keep investing in R&D, because research and development for us is it's key. We want to stay at the end of the game. We want to also keep developing additional a patent and technology, but also bring new molecule to the market and new ingredients. So all this is going to be very important. And on top of that, obviously, we want to move toward developing our own facility, our own new, production facility in Europe. This is also going to be our objective in a couple of months.
Fantastic. And maybe one final slightly cheeky question: do you think your experience and presence at GFB will encourage other footballers to invest in sustainable chemicals?
I hope. I think this is a very hot topic. I think the climate change issue is on every single agenda in terms of politics and businesses, because there is not one company who can ignore it anymore. And I think sport is a very large industry which can drive change, and which having a massive influence on next generation and the generation of today. So I really hope, we will have, more football players, more athletes in general, taking the lead in terms of driving change around this hot topic, which is climate change. So hopefully it will happen more often.
Sounds like a wave of investment coming from high-profile people.
We hope.
Okay, brilliant. Well, thanks very much for joining me today. It's been great talking to you.
Thanks a lot, Matt. I really appreciate it, and thank you for having me.
Brilliant. Thank you.